you're gonna have to get your hands dirty with this one. So first things you're gonna cut it down to a medium, low, or a low. Then you're a mother of 6, a grandmother of 10. I know I don't look it, but yes I am. I am a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a niece, I'm a cousin, I'm a sister to many, although I don't have Thank you so much for stopping by today with Love Mom in our wonderful kitchen and enjoying this beautiful kitchen experience. So glad you decided to come by and see me. What are we going to do today? Today in our 30 for 30 meals in 30 days. I know we're a couple of days behind, but we're going to catch up. It is episode 11. Yes, 11. And today we're going to learn how to make homemade macaroni and cheese from scratch. Thanksgiving is coming, and I promise you this macaroni and cheese is going to be the hit of the meal. Now, what do you say? Huh? What? Oh, how's that a meal, Miss Kim? It's just a side? I'm going to show you how it's going to be a meal, not just a side. So we're going to make it a side, and we're going to make it out of a meal, and we're going to make it part of a meal. So let's get started and see what's cooking in the kitchen. Alrighty, my darlings, just as a disclaimer, this particular recipe is not very healthy. But I got some requests to asking to show how to make homemade macaroni and cheese. So I am going to do that, and then I'm going to show you how to make it out of a meal. Make it into a meal so you're not just eating mac and cheese. Now, for this recipe, we're going to need an assortment of cheeses, as you can see. We're going to use some Velveeta. I like the Blanco, the white one, and you can use whatever cheeses you like, but I am using some Fontina, some Gouda, some mozzarella, and some Colby Jack shredded already. And you're going to need your elbow macaroni, or you can use the little spiral can or any kind you like, and a can of cream of mushroom soup. This is how simple this recipe is, and it will be absolutely delicious. And everybody at Thanksgiving dinner or wherever you cook it is going to rave about the macaroni and cheese, and you'll know you did it. And then we also have a chicken breast here. I've actually split it and smashed it out because my husband likes thin cuts, and we're going to sear that in the pan. Okay guys, now we've already got our macaroni and cheese, elbow macaroni going. You just put a pot of water on, bring it to a boil, and then pour the macaroni in. I use 1 box because it's just me and my husband, so we don't need a whole lot. But, you know, Thanksgiving, of course, you make a lot. But I'm just use one, I think it's a 16-ounce box if I'm not mistaken, or 8-ounce box, I'm sorry. And so while we're waiting for that, and the best way, while we're waiting for that, we're going to go get our cheese ready to get it prepared to put into the macaroni. And so this Velveeta, you use half the block, which is 8 ounces. Yeah. 16 ounces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you use half the blocks. Each piece of it is 4 ounces, so it's like 16 ounces. So you're about a pound. And you're going to cut it into squares. As you can see, I've cut it into squares. I'm putting it in a bowl because we're going to melt this down before we put it into our macaroni. Macaroni only takes about 10 minutes to cook. That pasta, I usually use the Barilla is, I think, the correct way to pronounce it, but I'm going to say Barilla. I usually use the Barilla because the Barilla, it cooks really well, really quickly. It's almost fail-proof. Okay, so now while we're finishing up waiting on our macaroni, I'm going to go ahead and start grating the cheese. And I'm not going to use the whole block of each of these. I'm just going to use a little bit of each of these because I have a bag of 7.5 ounce bag of Colby Jack that's already shredded. But I want to give it a little extra dimension of flavor. So I got some Gouda here, And I got some fresh mozzarella, okay, and I have some fontina. And you don't have to use these cheeses. I'm just bougie as crap. So, and what I used to use is just the cheddar, the mozzarella, the Colby Jack, and the Velveeta. But over the years, I've gotten a little bougie. So I'm going to go ahead and get this grated. I'm going to spare you the pain of watching me do it here, so that it can be in the oven while we sear our chicken. Now, with my macaroni and cheese, what I like to do is melt my Velveeta first. So what I'm going to do is pour some milk into a pot, a saucepan, and that's about a cup and a half of milk. Cup and a half. And I'm using regular 2% milk this time, mainly because, okay, it's Thanksgiving. We're going to cheat just a little. And I told y'all I am addicted to cheese, and nobody has found me a hotline. So now I put my oven, my stove on medium high, so that the milk can start warming. I'm going to take my cheese, my Velveeta, and go ahead and put that into the milk and stir that in until it melts down. It's starting to melt already now. So we're going to let this go ahead and melt down. And you got to keep stirring it, guys. You got to keep checking on. This is not something you can just walk away from. If you do, you can only walk away for a couple of minutes, because you want it to melt, not burn. Okay. Also, just a couple of tips on the macaroni, because the pasta part is already done, which is why I'm going to go ahead and make it starting the cheese. But a couple of tips on the macaroni. If you boil your water before you put your pasta in, boil the water before, start the water boiling, then put the pasta in. It actually only takes the pasta 7 or 8 minutes to cook. Perfect. And put a little bit of oil in the water after you pour the pasta in, the macaroni or spaghetti, whatever you're using. Put a little bit of oil in it. It could be vegetable oil, olive oil, whichever one you prefer, because that keeps the pasta from sticking together. And it gets ready in like 7 or 8 minutes. Okay, now this is already melted almost all the way down. As you can see, it's melted into the milk, so we got this little thick, soupy kind of look, almost like nacho cheese, but a little like the cheese you would use on your nachos, but a little bit thicker. That's what you're looking for. We're going to go ahead and get our macaroni and cheese ready to go into the oven, because you're going to bake it for a little bit. Now, a couple of little tricks, guys, is when you drain your mac and cheese, drain all the water off. If you run a little cold water over it, it stops it from cooking and keeps it from getting soggy. Okay, now we're going to put about 1.5 tablespoons of butter, or you can use margarine, or you can use vegan butter. It doesn't matter. You're just looking for that creaminess. And as I said, as a full disclaimer, this is not very healthy, people. All this cheese ain't good for you, but we're going to have it for Thanksgiving. So, now, you've got your butter in, and it's going to melt as you incorporate other things. So now we're going to put in some sea salt. I'm going to use a little herbed sea salt. Y'all know I like that. So we're going to use a little sea salt, a couple of pinches, which about 2 teaspoons, maybe 3, depending on how you like yours. I don't like a whole lot of salt in mine because of the fact that because after you put the cheese and everything in it, I don't want anything to take away from the cheese. Then we're going to sprinkle about 2 teaspoons of garlic powder in with it. And then we're going to use a couple of pinches of pepper. Just a couple. 1 and 2. Okay. And then you're going to mix all of that together. And the reason I'm seasoning it now, because after I start putting all the cheese and stuff in, and yes, I am dropping macaroni everywhere. I'm so sorry. After I start putting all the cheese and everything in, you got to be careful about how you're moving it around. So you put your seasonings in first. And that's pretty much all the seasoning that you need, guys. Now we're going to take that melted cheese that we did with the Velveeta, and we're going to go ahead and pour that over. Okay. And if you still have chunks of Velveeta in, don't worry about it. Trust me, it's going to melt off. And once you put it in the oven, it's really going to melt. So it's okay. Mix that in with your macaroni. And this is 1 box of macaroni, guys. It's a pound. I was all kind of wrong earlier, but this is 1 box of macaroni, which is 1 pound. Okay, now we got our Velveeta mixed in. Now we're going to take our shredded cheeses that we put in, and we just used a little bit of each. Give it some extra oomph. And we're going to mix all those in together. You don't have to try to layer them and all that kind of foolishness. Put them all together. They're all going to melt in. So it's no big deal. Okay. So then you're going to stir that around. Get it nice and blended in. And we're going to marry each other with this cheese. And it smells good already. And we're not even partially done. Okay, so we're going to get that cheese all melted in. Then we're going to take some cream of mushroom soup. Yes, I said cream of mushroom soup. Cream of mushroom, trust me, you're going to love it. And you're going to put 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. You don't have to add any more liquid, no water, no milk, or anything like that, because you did that with your Velveeta. So it's going to be nice and creamy. Okay, and you can just use assortment of cheeses. You can use whatever cheese you want. You can use 2 cheeses. You can use 3. You can use 5. My sister-in-law, let me tell y'all, when me and my husband first got married, my sister-in-law and I, we fell in love with each other instantly. But the first holiday season we had, we fought about whose mac and cheese was the best. And she thought because she used like 8 kinds of cheeses that hers was better than mine. So we decided that we were going to both put our mac and cheese out on Thanksgiving. And everyone ate, whoever's was gone or had the most was eaten, that's who won. And this is fresh mozzarella, guys. And you don't really have to grate fresh mozzarella. So I just cut it. And I'm just pulling it apart and breaking it up just a little bit. Because I like that little cheesy stringy thing when you pull it out of the pan. And so we put both of ours, and she will probably tell the story different, but this is how it went. We both put our macaroni and cheese out. And my macaroni and cheese was completely gone. We didn't tell anybody who made what. And so my macaroni and cheese was completely gone, and they were eating hers, but mine was gone. And so my husband had the audacity to tell me he liked his sister's mac and cheese better than mine. And I said, really? But you had never tasted mine at this point. He hadn't tasted it. He said, I like hers better. I'm just telling you, I like hers better. I said, okay. So after it was gone, we were all sitting around and she was looking all mad. Everybody's trying to figure out why she was mad. And my husband said, what's wrong? I said, did you enjoy the mac and cheese? I always loved my sister's mac and cheese. I said, that was mine. So it was a wonderful win for me. But, you know, I love her very much. I miss her a lot. But we had that battle. And this is just a little Colby Jack, guys. Just a little bit, because, you know, you're going to top it. So now that we have put in our cheeses, and I know it seems like a whole lot of cheese, but keep in mind I just put a small sliver of each type of cheese. I didn't like take a whole block of each. So there was less than 1/4 pound of each type of cheese that I, you know, just cut a little sliver because I like dimensions in my food. And then I just put a couple of sprinkles of the Colby Jack. Okay, so now this is ready to go into a pan. We're going to stick it in the oven, and we're going to top it with some Colby Jack so it can melt on top. We're going to put the oven on 350 degrees, okay? And we're just going to cook it until the cheese is all melty and bubbly and everything, because everything's pretty much all cooked. And I'm going to take some out and put it to the side, because I'm going to show you how you can make it pretty much a one-pot meal as well, and have it for just a meal instead of just a side. Okay guys, this is what it looks like before we put it in the oven, and you're going to see what it looks like after we take it out. But while we're waiting on it to cook, we're going to cook our chicken. Okay, so now we're going to start on our chicken, but first we're going to saute some onions. And guess what? Pears. Yeah, I'll put some pears in there because I'm a crazy person, but it's going to be absolutely delicious. So first we're going to saute some onions and pears and get them all nice and caramelized together. And then we're going to take these out and sear our chicken. Now what you do is you get a chicken breast. You can actually do this with thighs too, guys. You get a chicken breast or a thigh. You split it down the middle. And you wrap it in plastic and you beat on it until it flattens out. My husband doesn't like really thick pieces of chicken. So I like to try to make it for him as thin as possible. He loves it. And over in the other pan over there, I have some broccoli, mushrooms, and onions steaming to go with our meal. And you just put some broccoli, mushrooms, and onions in there together, a little salt and pepper, sea salt and pepper, and good to go. No butter or anything, because you know we're cheating with the macaroni and cheese. So since we're cheating with the macaroni and cheese, we're going to try to make everything else healthy. And I'm just sauteing this with a little Pam cooking spray. I'm not using any kind of regular oil. Now this is about ready, so I'm going to pour this back into the bowl because I'm going to use the same pan to, and in goes the chicken. Now while it's searing on one side, you're going to take and put a little sea salt. I'm putting my little couple of pinches of sea salt, and I'm putting a couple of pinches of pepper. We're making this a very simple seasoning. On one side, guys. So you're going to cook it on one side for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we're going to flip it over. If you see, we've already flipped it over, and when you thin that chicken out, it doesn't take it very long to cook because it's thin. So we're going to put a little sea salt, a little garlic powder, and a little pepper on this side. A couple of pinches, there we go. And I know you're thinking to yourself, man, that's a big piece of chicken. It is, but, and then, but he's not going to eat it all for dinner. We're going to pack some of it up for his lunch. And then after you flip it over, how you get it to cook completely through, take your fork, poke holes in the chicken. That way it comes straight up through there. And see, it's already seared on the other side. Now you don't want to, it's not done. It may look done, but it's not done. So now that we've gotten it seared, we're going to cut it down a little more. We're going to put our onions and pears on top. And then we're going to put a top on it and let it steam the rest of the way. Cut it down to medium-low. Let it steam about 7 minutes. It'll be ready. Okay, so now we're going to take that steamed broccoli and mushrooms that we had over on the side of the stove, and we're going to put that in with the leftover macaroni and cheese. Stir that around a little bit. Make it nice and creamy. And then we're going to stick this in the oven at 350 degrees, for roughly 10 minutes. And then this will be ready. Alrighty, my darlings, there you have it. We have made us a wonderful, wonderful macaroni and cheese from scratch, start to finish. Easier than you thought it was, isn't it? Ha! Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we made us a meal around our macaroni and cheese. We made some seared chicken with some caramelized onions and pears. Yes, I said pears. Trust me, if you try it, you're gonna love it. My husband loves it. It's like a sweet, savory thing happening melding together. He can't help it. Then we made some steamed broccoli with mushrooms and sauteed onions to go with it. Wonderful, complete meal. For myself, I used the rest of the macaroni and cheese, and I took some of those steamed broccoli and mushrooms and threw them over in there and stirred them around, put them in the oven for like 10 minutes, and they are absolutely heavenly. I already tasted a little bit. I'm going to eat the rest for dinner because I don't want to chew in front of y'all. That would be rude. So there we go. We made us a wonderful, wonderful meal, and we did it in a short amount of time. And you can make this macaroni and cheese for Thanksgiving as a side. It's going to be a hit, I promise you. Let me tell you something about my family. In my family, you know, most families have the battle of some certain dish around the holidays. You know, potato salad. Who made the potato salad? Or, you know, who made this cake or something like that. In my family, it's the battle of the macaroni and cheese. My mother taught me how to make macaroni and cheese from scratch. So when I got older, I made my own recipe of macaroni and cheese and, you know, developed it a little bit more to the way I liked it, because my mom puts ham and everything in hers. Then my youngest daughter is now, you know, on this journey to beat my mac and cheese. Never. So last year she actually was running around looking for goat Gouda. Can you believe that? Goat Gouda. So that she can beat my mac and cheese. Her mac and cheese is good though. I'm not going to lie. It's really good. So now, there we go. You can make macaroni and cheese as a side. It's going to be a hit at Thanksgiving. You guys are going to love it. And oh, wait a minute. Do we notice something different? Yes. We have our own t-shirts now. Isn't that lovely? This young lady long story, but they're absolutely lovely. And I got a new apron. You know, every good cook should have an apron, but a cute cook has a sparkling one. I know I'm out of control today. Anyway, I am so glad that you came by. I really hope you enjoyed this wonderful, wonderful recipe. And I hope you get a chance to take advantage and use it. I promise you it's going to be a hit at any dinner you use it at. Now, if you like what you saw today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And then hit the thumbs up. And then what are we going to do? Share this video. So let's review. Subscribe. Thumbs up. Share this with someone that might want to learn how to make some macaroni and cheese and find out it's easier than you thought. You know, if anybody ever tells you that macaroni and cheese just takes forever, don't believe them. No, it don't. So I hope you guys liked it. I thank you so much for stopping by and visiting with me today. I am enjoying my time with you. So thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget, subscribe, thumbs up, and share. You guys have a beautiful evening. Keep on cooking and getting ready for Thanksgiving. I love you. God bless you. Happy cooking.